Dr. Christopher Chapple, who will be talking, and he's a Doshi professor of Indic and Vedic Theology at Loyola Marymount University. He will be speaking on the sevenfold yoga of Yogavasistha, and will examine the 7 aspects of yoga: disenchantment with the world, deep thinking that results in concentration, meditation, ethical behavior, non-attachment, experiencing the world as if it were no more than a dream, a state of deep peace, liberated while in the body, and the final phase of dissolution and return to universal consciousness. Please welcome Dr. Christopher Chapple.
Thank you so much to all of you for being here. And I am delighted to be following the morning with Dr. Nagendra and with the talk of Vyas. And I had started a very formal yoga training in 1972 and discovered their organization in the 1980s and visited for the first time in 1989. And when I first visited, I was given the good fortune of spending time with Dr. Shastri, who was their spiritual guide in many ways, a retired chemistry professor. And we immediately felt a deep connection because of his abiding interest in a text called the Yogavasistha. And the Yogavasistha was written over a course of many hundred years and reached its current form about 1,000 years ago. And it combines all of the best of Indian spirituality, and it's one of the most exhilarating books to read, either in English summary translation or in Sanskrit language. And I actually wrote my PhD topic on the Yogavasistha. And the verses that I will share with you this morning are from a section of the text that outlines a 7-fold practice of yoga. And it's very different from Patanjali. It really assumes that you already understand Patanjali. And it, with just undying enthusiasm, celebrates all that we can become through our life of yoga. And rather than talking about it, what I prefer to do, if I could ask your indulgence, is I want to read from you what we did over a period of some months. Namely, we sat, a group of us, and read in the Sanskrit and translated word by word and came up with various ways to express this exuberant poetry. And I invite you, following, to look at this new publication called Yoga in Practice, Princeton University Press. It includes the full translation of what I'll share with you this morning, and also my recent book that was just mentioned, Yoga and the Luminist, which includes the full translation and word-by-word analysis of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. So Sri Rama asks his guru, asks sage Vasistha, what constitute the 7 stages of yoga practice? How are the various stages of the yoga to be distinguished? And Vasistha replies, describing the first stage, which is nivritti, renunciation. He says, listen to the characteristics of 2 types of people. The engaged ones, the pravritti, draw near to heaven. The renouncers, the nivritti, are yearning for liberation. And then rhetorically, Vasistha asks, what is this thing called nirvana? To me, it is stopping transmigration. By contrast, the one who keeps doing what is to be done stays engaged in the world. However, just as a tortoise withdraws its neck, and just as the ocean's tides fill any available opening, so, after countless births, a person of great discernment is born. And he's really talking about the inevitability of our spirituality. Such a person says, "Alas, I have had enough of the samsara caused by this weakness of mind. How can I live another day, driven by these stale karmas?" And then the question is asked, what would be the highest method to release from pain? What actions would lead to this superior liberation? The renouncer, the Nivritti, asks these ultimate questions and more. Having experienced this dispassion, how will I cross over the ocean of samsara? Indeed, this is the highest thought. From it arises devotion to truth. Having drawn into oneself due to dispassion, that is, viraga, one experiences fragrance-filled meditations, an uplift of one's actions within the realm of forms, moving forward with joy every day. The one who continually questions the stupid actions of people does not condemn their faults, but performs virtuous actions by way of counterexample. This person's mind is wary of busy tasks. This person performs only mild actions, is continually on guard against sin, and looks away from shallow pleasures. This person, the person of Nivritti, the person of the first stage, speaks delightful and affectionate words, nurturing and leading to love appropriate to time and place. Such a person has accomplished the first bhumika, the first stage of yoga, and serves wise people in thought, deed, and word. Stage 2, deep thinking, vicharana. Then one is led forward and seeks out the knowledge of the scriptures. This person will become a deep thinker, a vicharana, and move in the direction of deliverance from samsara. There's more seats up toward the front. Come on up.
If folks can just move into the middle, please, that would make it easier for the folks who are just arriving. Less disruption. Thank you.
It is said that this person, the vichara, the deep thinker, has already attained the first stage of nivritti. Others are regarded to be self-obsessed, that is, just caught up in the realm of the ego. And the second stage has two names: established in riches and arrived at the state of yoga. From the performance of concentration, we just had a wonderful presentation on dharana, and meditation, dhyana, and through keeping the company of revealed and remembered scriptures, shruti and smriti, such a one is regarded silently and aloud as reaching the highest limit. This person knows the classifications of things and the rules of proper conduct. All the tattvas of Sankhya and all of the yamas of niyamas. Having heard what is to be learned, this person has command over the mind, like a householder manages the home. Such a person leaves behind conceit, pride, envy, delusion, and cupidity. Like a snake shedding its skin, this person escapes from attachment to externals. From serving wise people and following the guru, scriptures, and clear thinking, one discovers how to act according to the unparalleled supreme secret. Now, stage 3. No attachment. Samsanga. The third yoga stage is called no attachment. In this, one arrives at an agreeable state, like walking into a bed of flowers. The mind of this person focuses on the meanings of scriptural statements. This person takes up the company with those in ashrams, spiritual retreats, events like this, who are calmed by their austerities and are making progress in the narrative journey to the inner self. Those who scorn samsara are treading the path toward the release from desire. They gather together in the refuge of virtue, living in this way into the waning years of their lives. Such people pass the time prudently, along with forest dwellers in their hermitages. With the radiance of their pacified minds, they are not attached, happy, exuding auspiciousness. From practicing the Holy Scriptures and from doing meritorious actions, such a person consequently speaks well and settles into seeing the truth of things. Having obtained this third stage, one experiences the awakening, the bodha. Remember the bhajan this morning is in honor of Vande Bodha, in honor of Bodha, the awakening. Experiences the awakening of the self through two types of non-attachment. Listen as I explain this distinction. The two ways of non-attachment are equally splendid. I am not the doer. I am not the enjoyer. Bhagavad Gita, Sankarika, Brahmavihara, all of this. The second, I am not oppressed, nor do I oppress others. With the intention of keeping a distance from the world, one sees as equal all who have bodies and names. Everyone is formed by karma from past lives and is indeed subject to Ishvara. Such a person continually asks, if I am happy, is it due to me? If I am sad, is it due to me? If I experience pleasure, is it due to me? If I experience displeasure, is it due to me? If things turn out well, is it due to me? If things go wrong, is it due to me? All that comes together eventually falls apart. All thoughts that arise eventually dissipate. Time swallows all existence zealously and continually. It does not matter. Through the practice of this insight, one enters the inner realization of non-existence. Attaching the mind to the meaning of this phrase is the same as dwelling in non-attachment. Through the various steps of yoga and through associating with great souls, one separates oneself from unreliable people and joins with those who have knowledge of the self. Through creativity and effort, and from the frequent practice of yoga, one arrives and lives the life of a spotless doer, living at a place of firm meaning. In the core understanding of the highest purpose, one crosses the ocean of samsara. I am not the doer. Ishvara is the doer, but deeds belong to Prakriti. Having indeed accomplished this highest state of transcendence, one penetrates the meaning of all words. One sits like a sage in peace. This is said to be the best non-attachment. This state is neither inside nor outside, not below nor above, nor in the quarters nor in the sky. It is not with meaning, nor is it without meaning. It is not without awareness, nor is it aware. Like the moon, it sits, radiating peace. In darkness or in the clouds, it is the same. Without beginning or end, unborn, beautiful. This, it is said, is the best non-attachment. Delight, contentment, and joy are caused by this spotless blossom of non-attachment. Conscious thought, though at first like a lotus, can start to cling and contract into a necklace of obstacles. As the lotus of discernment rises up inside, it bursts like a flash of lightning in one's thoughts. Non-attachment to the fruits is the third stage of yoga. Now we get a recap of first discernment, or disaffection, discernment, and non-attachment. By performing yoga through accumulated purity, and by the storehouse of one's good deeds, one arrives at the mysteriously fortuitous first stage. The guardian mothers say, this stage is like a tender sprout. The waters of discernment must be diligently sprinkled on it to protect and nourish it. By this gift, one becomes brilliant. Then, through deep thinking, the second phase, vicharana, one would be guided upward, just as a gardener tends to his seedlings diligently every day. By holding on to this inner strength indeed, one sets in motion an inexhaustible commitment. From effort at the second stage, vichara, one reaches the third stage, asansanga, non-attachment. The person at this stage shuns all remaining things and dissolves all thought. So then Sri Rama asks the sage Vasistha, what would be the destiny of those whose actions are vile, who are born in wicked families and are confused, who would not take up the company of yogins? What path, O Bhagavan, will those follow who have failed to attain the first, second, or third stage at the time of death? Vasistha said, samsara is bestowed on the one who is deluded and taken by foolishness. The consequence is hundreds of random births. But possibly, freedom from passion will arise through association with the holy ones. In this freedom from passion, a person inevitably rises up to at least one of these stages. The undying optimism of this text is so inspiring. Thus, it is agreed upon in the scriptures that samsara can be ended. The living being can be released from the body by attaining a stage of yoga. Through following the stages of yoga, one basks in the benefits of past happy deeds, as if one were riding in the chariot of the gods in the presence of those souls who protect the world. It is as if one were dwelling in the fragrant groves on Mount Meru, delighting in the company of a beautiful friend. Thus, the accomplishment of good deeds will prevail over the previous bad deeds. The yogins, having vanquished the net of worldly attachment, stand victorious in a blessed state, unsullied and of pleasant disposition. These most excellent persons live on, protected from negativity. Having been born into yoga, all you guys here, they serve others and encourage others to attain yoga. These wise ones, due to their prior practice of meditation, are on course within the stages of yoga. O Ram, these three stages occur in the realm designated in the waking state. This waking state is seen through the brilliance of the intellect. Those who are disciplined through yoga carry themselves in their solitude with dignity. Having seen such people, the minds of the ignorant are inspired to develop a desire for liberation. Such a person desires to perform what needs to be done and does not get involved with improper activity. Standing up for refined conduct, such a person is renowned as possessing dignity. This person follows proper conduct, studies the scriptures, and has a stable mind. Due to this appropriate behavior, such a person is renowned as possessing dignity. In the first stage, the seeds of yoga sprout. In the second stage, the plant of yoga grows. In the third stage, it bears fruit. Come on all the way up, please. This is the unfolding dignity of yogis. This dignified yogan upon death carries pure intentions to the next life. After enjoying pleasures for a long time, that person assumes a life of yoga again. From the practice of these three stages of yoga, one arrives at the destruction of ignorance. Singular knowledge arises in the mind like the splendor of the full moon rising. Those yogins, their minds disciplined and thoroughly free from dwelling on difference, regard all things to be the same. Through this, they enter the immeasurable fourth stage. Standing in the non-dual vision, with all thoughts of duality put to rest, the yogins see this world as if it were a dream. Through this, they enter the immeasurable fourth stage. The three first stages of renunciation, deep thinking, and non-attachment take place in waking life. In the fourth stage, things are seen as if they are dreams, falling away like the leaves of autumn. Things gradually fade away as if into oblivion. Having arrived at the fifth stage, one is at the end of the remaining existence. At this fifth stage, one reaches the level that is called sleep. That person stands in a state of utter non-dualism, Advaita Matra, each part in perfect peace. The appearance of dualism drops away, and one awakens into inner joy. In this fifth stage of deep sleep, Sushupti, one's countenance takes on an inward stability, transcending external concerns. One achieves eternal, abundant peace through this. And I love this image. One is perceived as if one were a sleeping owl. In doing this practice, one rushes to banish worldliness in this stage. The sixth stage is another name for the soul as it traverses these steps. All form is seen as neither non-existent nor existent. One obtains action neither with an ego nor without an ego. In solitude, with thoughts diminished, one dwells in a state released from oneness or two-ness. With the knots of karma untied, one finds peace in the body, living as a liberated soul. Standing neither in nirvana nor not in nirvana, one shines brightly, outwardly free, inwardly free, free like the piece of sky in a jar. Full on the outside, full on the inside, as full as a jar overflowing with water. This person seems highly accomplished, but also seems like nothing special. Having dwelt in the sixth stage, one then attains the seventh stage. That is called liberated, freed from the body. This is the seventh stage of yoga. Peaceful beyond words, This state is beyond the horizon of the earth. By some, it is called Shiva. By others, it is referred to as Brahma. By some, it is determined to be female. Others call it male. Thought of in so many ways, at the core of things, it is to be thought of as the true self. How can this eternal, indescribable consciousness be described? Speechless. Vasistha merely ends this whole chapter by stating, its attainment has been spoken of in 7 stages by me to you, O Rama. Namaste. So are there any questions about the 7 stages? They're outlined in your program as well.
So the first 3 stages are the steps that we models that we do, and then the 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, the first 3 stages are, first of all, when, I love that line, how can I just keep on with these stale karmas? Okay, you just become disaffected. Renunciation. Tyaga. Right. And then you, through your good intention, you begin to associate, you begin to study, you begin to practice, and you think deeply about all things. And then you rise to the state of a samsanga, where things simply don't bother you anymore. And then from that, you step in, and I love, and some of the talks yesterday I was reflecting about 100 Years of Solitude. And if any of you read the magical realism of the incredible insights of people from the Latin, the Iberian world, we should say. And in these insights, we just know that what we think to be the case just isn't always the case. And that we really see the world as if it's a dream. Now, this doesn't mean that we diminish the world. This doesn't mean that we don't take seriously all of those foundations that have been established before. But when we read in the Upanishads, and I love the Yogavasistha because you heard all of these overtones from the Bhagavad Gita, from various Upanishads, from Sankhya, from Buddhism. Nagarjuna is just infused within this text. And what we hear is that, we have waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and number 4. He's playing with this. He's very, very clever in the way that he says, this thing that they say in the Upanishads is like dreaming. No, this is a state of reality that we can move with and experience. It's not an abstraction. But it's as if the whole world becomes phantasm. And that's beautiful. And then from that comes the establishment and dividing in layers in levels 5 and 6. And then finally, as my own guru would say, there's a possibility of when we pass, to truly pass into an eternal repose, rather than having the accumulated karmas, having the need to reassert themselves. But as we know from the beginning of the text, that's okay. People have to come back, and they have hundreds and hundreds of experiences, and it just leaves it so delightfully possible in this text, which makes it also a very giant text, and that everything is sky, everything is possible. Yeah, please. This is the beauty of the Yogavasistha, because the first stage is called Nivritti, and the entry point for Nirvana is this sense of disaffection, positive sense of disaffection. So in terms of the teleology, the end goal of this text, the end goal is found in every one of those 7 stages. The end goal is found with that initial moment of entering the spirit of questioning. That's the most beautiful interrogative moment that one could experience, and in that there's a certain fulfillment. And certainly the enduring practice of yoga requires that second phase of being in like-minded company, of hearing again and again what it is that we know yoga to be, and then that idea that we aren't going to get all upset about stuff, as well as our ability to abide and also be a model to others. So I think nirvana, as he said, you're neither in nirvana nor you're not in nirvana. That this is a text that celebrates life. And again, this became the major resource for Kashmir Shaivism, which is really the concatenation of Buddhist insight with Advaita Vedanta insight. And of course, yoga is required for all of it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chapple, for that wonderful presentation.